You ready for this? In my opinion, having too low of a step rate can increase your risk of injury, but having too high of a step rate or cadence can hinder or reduce your performance. So I'm going to break this down. I really like having the open discussion and see your guys' comments and see where you're at. So I really like that. I hope we can continue to do that. And if you're not sure about something, especially even after this post, if you don't feel comfortable posting it down in the comments, DM me. I'll answer you. I'll always answer you. I really just want you guys to get this and to learn. That's it. So don't be shy. Someone else has the same question. If you're a new runner, I'm going to show you why having too low of a step rate can cause you to overstride or land too far out in front of your body and slow you down and increase your risk of injury. And I'll show you how to increase that and strategies in later posts of how to do that. But if you've been at it for a while and you're relatively healthy, if you're too focused on your step rate, if you're too focused on picking your feet up constantly, it can hinder your performance. And I'm going to show you that. So I break down injuries into the big three, the three most common: overstriding, posture, and bounding. In my more detailed courses that I do for teaching clinicians and people that work with runners, I break it down a little bit further. What I talked about in the big three was, of these, overstriding, which in my definition is going to be anything that slows you down, anything that prevents you. You're trying to move forward and there's something that's slowing you down, usually you, and you're going to get a lot of stress, a lot of impact. Every action, equal and opposite reaction. There's a lot of force, 2.5 times your body weight, sometimes higher, that's coming back up at you. So if we're overstriding and landing in front of us, that can wreak havoc on your shin, on your knees. So I'm going to show you guys how having a low step rate is correlated with overstriding, and how if you increase it to that sweet spot, it can help prevent that. I did a whole series on overstriding. I went over 10 different fixes, whether they be thoughts that you think about that help prevent overstriding or drills that you do. My number one, my top fix that I think every therapist, every clinician that works with runners as patients that are injured, this is the quickest fix, if you will, to improve your step rate. I'm going to show why increasing your steps will help to prevent this overstriding or landing too far out in front of your center of mass, in front of your body. So watch. On the right, I've got the appropriate step rate, 180. I'm not overstriding. I'm landing underneath me. And what do you notice? We started at the same spot, and here I'm still in the air. So I've made contact with the ground. So someone that's overstriding or has a lower step rate, it's because they're in the air. You can't clock steps when you're in the air. You're not making contact with the ground. So by having this longer air time, usually bounding in addition, but our leg just keeps going forward. It doesn't stop. We're just throwing our leg out there and we're not looking back, we're not stopping. Having a higher turnover rate or increasing the number of steps, keeping the speed the same. That's the key. If I'm increasing my steps, I'm going to naturally hit the ground sooner. I'm going to bring my foot down and make contact sooner and not keep the leg going out in front. So let's show that a couple different ways. So I like calling this the decision point. One of me is going to overstride and land too far out in front of my body, and one is not. It's going to land underneath my body to keep my momentum going forward. Having a higher step rate, increasing your steps, can help with this, preventing me from keeping that momentum going forward. So if we're trying to keep up to a beat of a song or a metronome, and we're trying to get that 3 hertz, 1 hertz is 60 times 3 is 180. 180 steps is the ideal cadence. So by naturally trying to increase your steps to get more steps, keeping the speed the same, it's going to help with this, your decision point. You're not going to keep that foot going forward. You're going to bring it back and land it underneath your body. So that is why, and we'll see it actually play out with running, why increasing your step rate helps prevent overstriding. So we can see it there. At 160, my leg's still going forward. And here, it's already coming back and starting to hit the ground. Okay, now we're going to get into the performance piece. So you've heard me talk a lot. If you're new, welcome. You're going to hear it a lot. of when you go forward, when you run forward, I want you to push forward, not pull yourself forward. And when you push yourself forward, what do you push with? I'm trying to teach you guys how to push with the tush, the glute max. Not your calf. Your calves are always tight. Not your hamstrings, and not your quadriceps of going up and down. To glide, we need to push with the tush. So watch what happens. Again, this is just a demonstration. I have less of a push. When I have less of this hip extension, look when I go back, look how much further. That's power, that's energy. Every action equal and opposite reaction. For me to create forward movement and momentum, I have to push and propel backwards. So by me pushing backwards, it's propelling me forward. A longer push gets more power. So hopefully you see where I'm going with this. If you pick up your foot too early and you're just trying to keep up with a certain rhythm or step rate or cadence, you may, even if you're doing it right, even if you're pushing with the tush, by picking your foot up way too early, way too soon, you are going to miss out on a lot of power. I want to show you that power. Watch when my foot stops, see how that keeps going. That is free energy, forward momentum. You're pushing back, that's bottled up and that's pushing you forward. If you're picking your foot up too early, you're going to lose that. You're going to miss out on that, which is key. If you pick your feet up too fast, you're going to see it's going to potentially cause your heart rate to spike up too fast. You're working really hard, but not going forward. To make up for less of a distance that you're covering, you're going to have to take more steps. So let's show that again in different ways. So here where they're overlapped, one, I'm picking my foot up early, and the other, I'm allowing my stride to happen behind me. I'm still not going to overstride out in front, but by opening up my stride in the back, I get so much more power. Look at that. So to show it in real life when it's running, this is the phase. When I'm propelling my body forward, this is that push with the tush. Today's post. Same speed. I'm going a 7-minute pace, 205 steps per minute. I'm just trying to rip those steps up versus a little more natural at 180. So we'll see with the 205 steps, I'm not overstriding. When I'm at 180, I'm not overstriding, but my amount of power, my hip extension, look on the left, how far my hip's going back, my thigh, versus the right, that is going to help propel me forward more. Versus that, just constantly picking them up, that requires energy. That's why you see your heart rate goes up, you're working really hard, but you're not moving forward. And a lot of times, not always, but we're bounding. If you're not, efficiency is a learned skill. If you're not used to this gliding forward and you're still on the whole pulling, you're just pulling your feet up trying to get a lot of steps. So you're missing out on some serious power. You get nothing else out of this. I'm giving you permission to not worry about your step rate so much. You're not injured, you're not overstriding, don't worry about it. And if you're feeling great and you're happy and you're not injured, keep going. But this is called Learn to Run, so keep that in mind. So please, any questions, drop them down below.